Everybody, January 13th, 6:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The market is closed. The futures markets are open. We are taking a look at Tesla. Tesla had a day today down 74.66. The boys who run these markets have been doing a great job at whipsawing people in and out of the markets, running stops, you name it, they're doing it. They have the emotions running extremely high. We are going to take a look at Tesla, see what has changed. Right here, we have a gap still, which is December 21st to December 22nd. That gap is 939 to 957. Slightly concerning, just like the gap on the first of the year, actually the first trading day of the year, which was January 3rd, when Tesla was up, I believe it was up 140 some odd dollars that day. Very bullish, quickly got failed though, and the gap came back and got filled on the 4th, the 5th, and then down into the 6th of January. So just like that gap got filled, this gap down here is still open. And just like this gap over here between October 22nd and October 25th, that eventually got filled over in this time frame, which was in December. Obviously, we are below the 50-day moving average, which is this green line on the chart. We are below the 21-day, which is this blue line on the chart. We are still well above the 200-day on the chart. So we are essentially just in this trading range. Let me see if I can bring up a shape tool here. Let's do this. So we are essentially just in this giant trading range here that goes from about 1240, 1239 down to 886. We are just bouncing around in this trading range. So until we break out of this range, I don't see why we won't continue to chop around here and trade sideways. Essentially seeing more sideways action. Once we break out of whether it's lower or whether it's higher out of this range, Tesla is going to continue to whipsaw people in and out of this market. At some point, Tesla will trend again, whether that's higher or lower. Time will tell. But so far, we are bottom of the range, top of the range, and you can see we've been chopping up and down. It's like a roller coaster. We're up, we're down, we're up, we're down, we're up. And we're getting a little bit more violent here with these massive ups and downs, back to back, gaps. So will trouble come for Tesla? We'll see which way this market goes for 2022. Market was up basically 30% last year. That doesn't mean we won't be up again this year. Just an opinion. Market will do what the market's going to do. But until we can break out of these ranges here, we're going to be stuck in this trading range. But we will not trade sideways forever. At some point, we'll get a break and we'll trend, but we need to see either a break below this trading range or above this trading range before Tesla will more than likely start a trend. I would assume a strong trend will come, though, once we do break out of this range. So what this range is essentially doing is it's going to tire traders out. People are going to get stopped out. They're going to buy. They're going to get stopped out. They're going to go short. They're going to get stopped out when it rallies. Eventually, they'll throw in the towel, and that's the time when the market will start to trend again, and Tesla will begin its next move, whether that's continuing higher, which will probably be the case, or does it break down for 2022 and head lower? So until we get out of this range, as I mentioned before, expect nothing more than choppy price action from Tesla. Like I said, this gap down here between the 21st and the 22nd, perhaps that's going to get filled. Do we undercut this low here? Do we go touch and tag the 200-day? All very possible scenarios if the market is going to struggle and roll over. The NASDAQ was pretty ugly looking today, but we will see. Yesterday looked great for Tesla. Today, not so much. Who knows? Markets closed on Monday, so we could have a nasty close into tomorrow, which would set up for a very, very big Monday, or Tuesday, excuse me. Markets close Monday. So that will definitely set traders on edge for the 3-day weekend and could set up for a very bullish Tuesday. So let's see. Let's see if we undercut this low tomorrow on January 10th of 980, and then perhaps Monday we will send it up again, 100 plus points for Tesla. We'll see, but this gap and this choppy action is slightly concerning. Something that could also happen is we'll get a downside move, right, which will fill this gap here between the 21st and 22nd, and we'll actually undercut this low of the 21st. We'll undercut that low, and perhaps we'll close below that low, or we'll wick back up into this box area, and then that will be enough to, first off, trigger lots of short entries and also exit out long positions. And then the market will do what people least expect, is it'll actually take off from there. So that's something to keep on your radar. But until we get there, not too much validity to that, just a thought, and sometimes that's what markets do. So keep your eye on that gap on Tesla. Put a box on your chart. Keep an eye on that, on this trading range on Tesla until we can get out. Whether it's to the upside or whether it's to the downside, who knows? Kind of have something looking at the chart here. We're kind of in what this looks like. Perhaps this is left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then, perhaps a breakout above that line there. Pretty interesting. Something to also keep an eye on. But for now, we're in a range. We have a gap below the market. We're getting a little bit extended from the 200-day, but none of that means anything if the price decides to go higher, and that's something we cannot ignore. So, all right, everybody. It's been a rough couple weeks for Tesla, but if you are long from last year, you are doing just fine. If you were long from way down in 2020, you are doing even better. But until we can get out of our own way here with Tesla, I don't see anything but more than sideways action. And if I show you something else on the chart, as you can see, we had this breakout here. Let's call it November 17th, give or take a couple days. Let's see, around the $415 range. And we moved all the way up to, let's call it 900, which was in January. So a couple months there. And then what did we do is we put in a lower high in February, and then we started to roll over. We came back to the 200-day. We went up, we came back down, went back up, and then we really came back down to undercut the low here. and that low was on March 5th. We undercut that low and then bounced around before really continuing the next trend up. So this whole area right in here between November 2020 and January 21, is that what we're seeing right now? Is this area from October 21 to November 21, is that what this was back in here in 2020 and then early 21? So are we going to see Tesla chop around, head lower, mess around with the 200-day before really setting up for the next trend, spending the next few months chopping people out before it begins its next trend higher? Kind of all speculation, just throwing some thoughts out there. Not financial advice, of course, just kind of what I see on the chart. But what's obvious and what you can't ignore is we have an open gap down here. And we know with gaps, at some point, they will get filled. If the price decides to head higher, we can't ignore that, as well as if it heads lower and breaks these lows and highs, we also cannot ignore that. But unless you are selling strangles on Tesla, this whole trading range is nothing more than whipsawing people out. So unless you are selling options below and above the market, there is not much for us to do for those who trade Tesla stock. So, all right, everybody, have a great evening. I will see everybody in the morning. We'll check the futures bright and early, the micro futures. If you could, like this video if you found it helpful and useful and you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to this channel if you trade Tesla, the micro futures, SPY. We have a Patreon trading group posting trading signals on a daily basis for the micro indice futures. We also have a Tesla trader group, as well as a SPY trader group and the cryptocurrency micro Bitcoin futures group as well. All links found in the description. I appreciate you taking the time watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next video.